Hey, welcome back, Knicks fans. Just want to drop a quick video about today's game. The Knicks played the Los Angeles Clippers, and they played a much better game today. Basically, the story of the game was the Knicks were a little more efficient today than they've normally been in the games, and they also played a little better defense today against the Clippers. First half, they struggled on the defensive end. Second half, they were able to pick it up, play much better defense, and also their big guns did come out to play. Julius Randle had a very efficient game today, although he has 7 turnovers, which was not good at all. However, he was very efficient, made some big shots down the stretch, made big baskets when we needed it. RJ Barrett struggled shooting today, still not as efficient as we like to see him. Um, However, he was persistent, especially going to the hole. I think he took about 18 shots in the hole in the paint today. He only made 6 of it. But the difference is normally early in the season, RJ Barrett will basically maybe take about 6 or 7 shots in the paint, and then he'll stop. He'll get discouraged after he gets his shot blocked a few times. The difference right now, what we're seeing differently now, is like he just keeps trying and he keeps going at it. And so, although he shot only 38% from the field, he did have 28 points. He had 14 huge rebounds. That's another really good thing about RJ. Mitchell Robinson went down, and he basically had the presence of mind to know that he had to help the team rebound. Also, he had to help the team um, defend the interior. Like I said, Julius Randle had a great game. Mitchell Robinson had a pretty decent game. He struggled against Zubac, especially stopping Zubac in the paint. Zubac kind of did have his way a little bit, even when Mitch was in the game. Mitchell Robinson also did have his way on the offensive end, did get a lot of offensive rebounds, which was really good. Got some nice putbacks. He had 8 points, 8 rebounds, but he basically was out of this game early in the third quarter with a sprained ankle, and he never returned. Alec Burks was okay. Didn't really do a whole lot, but I guess it was sort of serviceable. He didn't kill us, but he didn't really contribute a whole lot either. Evan Fournier played pretty okay, 42% from the field, 4-8 from three. So he has hit some pretty decent shots. I think that's really interesting too about because of the way Tip coaches, he doesn't deviate very much from his lineup, which is a little crazy. He really doesn't deviate very much from the lineup, right? And so because of that, it's really interesting to see. There were certain points in the game when Ever Fournier was really hot from the field, and the coach took him out of the game. And so I think it was like I think it might have been his first 3 pointer that he hit in the game, and right after that, the coach took him out of the game. So that was a little interesting to see. And so sometimes it's one of those things where you just kind of wonder why the coach, why he does certain things like that. Sometimes you would think there's some coaches that I know back in the day when I used to watch basketball, you would see player get hot, and the coach sometimes would just leave that player and let that player rock out for a little longer, especially once they heat up. And so it was interesting to see, Tom Thibodeau being Tom Thibodeau, not deviating from his lineup and his schemes, and he essentially, he takes Evan Fournier out at certain points in the game, and he made sure he did that today. I mean, that's the way he coaches. That's who he is. Nerlens Noel played a very good game today, and he was actually, believe it or not, although he's not as strong as a strong offensive rebounder like Mitch, but for the first time in a while, I actually feel like Nerlens Noel was actually a better interior presence on the defensive end. He actually did a better job defending the paint than Mitch did today, and so that was interesting to see. Quentin Grimes only 2 of 10, didn't really do much. He's been obviously he's a rookie, so he's very inconsistent. Story of the game was Cam Reddish. Well, not the only story of the game, but that's one of the stories. Cam Reddish did get a chance to play today, but unfortunately, he only got 5 minutes. The thing that's really crazy about it, didn't watch the full Hawks game. I saw highlights of the last Hawks game, and I'm sorry, why kid played on our team, and I can't remember his name anymore. We drafted him, traded him for Cam Reddish, and it seems like he's this year he may actually get more burn. Kevin Knox, that's what I'm thinking about. It looks like he's going to get more burn than Cam Reddish may get this year, so it's kind of crazy to see. Kevin Knox couldn't get off the pine for the New York Knicks, right? He goes over to the Hawks, and right away as soon as he's ready to play. I think he got at least 10 minutes for the Hawks the last game that the Hawks played. So that's really interesting to see. Cam Reddish only got 5 minutes. We also Tom Thibodeau in a press conference a couple of days ago. he was preaching patience. I don't. When he was preaching that patience, I don't think he was really just talking. He wasn't talking to fans really. He's actually talking to the front office, and because a lot of times, the front office, they have expectations. They drafted this kid. This kid wanted playing time, so they probably want to see what this kid can do to see if they can re-sign him next year. And Tom Thibodeau, because of the way he operates, it doesn't look like he has really much of an interest in playing this kid. I think the 5 minutes that he played today was, you know, uh, maybe it wasn't forced because Kemba Walker didn't play today, and so we had to give the minutes to someone, right? However, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens the rest of the season to see if this kid actually gets a chance to get more than 10 minutes a game. It's crazy because he was averaging 20 minutes a game for the Atlanta Hawks, and he felt that he didn't have a future there, that he wasn't being used well enough, and crazy enough, this year he's with the Knicks. I don't know if the Knicks are going to really play him that much. So I'm going to be really interested in seeing how this plays out. So Obi Toppin, he didn't play much today. He only played about 8 minutes, but he did get one highlight dunk today. It was really special. I mean, every time this kid steps on the floor, he tries to do something special. And, you got to always appreciate that, especially given the way he plays. He always plays fast pace, does his best, and so it's too bad he can't get much minutes. Too bad he's on this team. Tom Thibodeau prefers to play Julius Randle 42 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever it is, before he plays Obi Toppin some minutes. It is Tom Thibodeau. This is his team, so he's going to do whatever he wants to do. And so right now we're going to talk a little bit more about, we did kind of talk about the keys to the game. Obviously, it was because it was really Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, them showing up today, and Julius being extremely efficient, right? So that was a big key to the game. And but we also want to look at defense, right? To see what's going on the defensive end. Like I said in the first half, we struggled a little bit, but as the game went along, especially in the second half, it felt like the Knicks did a much better job, stopping the Los Angeles Clippers. So right here, I want to take a look at let's take a look at some of we're going to look at some defensive stats. These are opponent field goal percentages. And so I think going forward, it's good to basically look at individual stats to kind of see who's actually contributing to wins on his team, right? Who's really contributing to the wins on his team, who's dragging us down. And so some of these stats are really going to help us. So one of the factors is obviously efficiency, right? And so if our top guns are efficient, and we talked about that earlier, Julius was extremely efficient, put up 24 points on 53% shooting, it gives us a very good chance of winning. R.J. Barrett wasn't efficient. He was only 38% from the field. However, he kept at it to kind of help give us production, to still kind of help get us over the top. He did actually get 7 free throws, and he was 7-7 from the line. And so we did benefit from him being actually aggressive today. And so his effective field goal was 52.5%, which is not that great. That's still below league average. But the opponent field goal percentage was about 52%, which is okay, below league average. The opponent field goal percentage for Julius Randle was about 53.8%. I think that was good. That was pretty okay. That's, about league average, so it's not terrible. Mitchell Robinson, I think this is a slightly above league average. And so Zubac did have his way, and he struggled with, we've struggled with this, actually. Teams finish at a pretty high clip against the Knicks in the paint. And the Knicks finish, we're not very good finishing in the paint. I think we're something like, we shoot like 54 or 55% in the paint. And the league average, I think, is something like 64% in the paint, especially within 5 feet. And so that's something we really struggle with. And also we are struggling defending the paint. And if you look at a lot of the stats, you look at basically all the shot attempts against the Knicks in the paint. I think the Knicks, we're somewhere like 60, almost 64%. So essentially, other teams shoot 64% within 5 feet versus the Knicks. However, we only shoot 54% against other teams within 5 feet. So that's a really big problem. And I think part of it is like our defense has really, we've really struggled. Obviously, we need to finish better on the offensive end, but we're really talking about the defense. We want to be well below the league average on that. You want to be more like around 59%, in my opinion. You want to be around 59%, especially within, like, if you want to be considered a good defensive team. But right now, the Knicks are not, it's like around 63%. That's for the year. But for this game here, overall effective field goal percentage was about 51.9%, which is below league average. So it was good. So we did what we had to do. And but going individual by player, Mitchell Robinson, and people, it might be hard for people to hear, but he's not protecting the paint as much as people think he is. And so the other one is Alec Burks. Alec Burks did pretty well today. His opponent net effective field goal was 49%, which is okay. Evan Fournier was 46.8%, which is okay. Emmanuel Quickly, this is 56.5. That's above league average. That's not that great. Nerlens Noel was 53.6%. So given the fact that he defends the paint, that's not, that's around league average, slightly below league average. So actually, if you're overall, as far as it's a little below league average. But if you isolate it, because a lot of the shots he's defending against are within 5 feet, are in the paint, this is actually pretty good. Actually, so let me restate that with Mitchell Robinson. A lot of the shots he's defending are in the paint most of the time. So if you compare it to basically what the league average is shots in the paint, this is actually also pretty good. But Nerlens Noel did a better job than Mitchell Robinson did today, protecting the paint. Quentin Grimes, effective field goal percent, opponent effective field goal was 59 point. That's not very good. That's above league average, so he needs to improve that. Cam Reddish, 50. He didn't get a lot of burn. So these guys, you can't really count it too much. Although Obi had almost 8 minutes, and his opponent effective field goal was 43%, which is pretty good as well. And so, but these, it's this is interesting actually to talk about Obi. This is another reason why maybe we should consider playing him a little more consistently. I really do want to see how he fares when he gets consistent minutes. I really want to look at his stats, right? His defensive stats. Because sometimes it looks like he has good position. He actually does pretty well. It seems like he's really holding his own on a defensive end. There was a game he played there was a few games ago when he played terrible on the defensive end. There was a game he played where he just struggled and he was just terrible. However, today's game, although it was only 8 minutes, he did a pretty solid job. He actually, more than solid, he did a very good job on the defensive end, especially holding. So let's take another quick look at RJ Barrett. Basically, I wanted to really look at his. This is his shot chart today. He shot very well. Basically, he shot 3 of 5 from the 3-point range, and then if you look inside of the paint, he took. If you could, this is 4 of 11 within 5 feet. That's way below league average. League average is 64%, and he shot 36% with basically at the rim. And then in the paint, like a little further away, he shot 2 of 7. That's still not that great. It was 28.6%. League average is 42%. And so it's something he really needs to work. He needs to continue working on it. It worked out for us today because he got some foul calls, right? So he was able to make up for a lot of the missed shots by going through the free throw line and hitting all those free throws. And then he also shot really well from the 3-point range. And so he really did help us a lot on the offensive end, although he struggled shooting the ball. So overall, today was a really good game. I mean, there was some nice highlights. Of course, when you have Obi Toppins in the game, he tries to give us something special and something nice and cheerful. So it was good to see, although it was only 8 minutes, it's good to see him out there, and also he played well on the defensive end. Overall, decent job by the coach, having the team prepared. But I think we benefited because this is an older team that likes to play half-court offense. And so, it was a little easier for us on the defensive end. We are a slower team. We play at a slower pace. And so when we play against teams that are a little faster, it's an issue for us. And so it was actually good to see, us play against, a team like this, and we're able to take advantage of it. The next game is going to be against the Cavs. Cavs are very interesting. They're very long. The Cavs is a team that actually punishes other teams for playing small against them because they're extremely big in the front line. They got Jared Allen in the middle, and also Mobley. Both of them are excellent defenders. And so we're going to see that once we basically get to that game tomorrow. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. The Knicks are not able to do that. We don't punish teams for playing small against us. I really think a lot of it is poor point guard play, but some of it is also on Julius Randle because we run the offense through him, and so it's always a problem. But when we run it through R.J. Barrett, he does do a much better job getting the bigs involved, taking advantage of mismatches and things like that. Sometimes Randall does a good job of it as well, but he just hasn't really been doing it consistently this year. At least not enough for us to basically win some games. Again, guys, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Comment below. I'll be more than happy to respond.